File item 104, SB 382. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 382 by Senator Lara and others enacting the juveniles.
Mr. Santiago, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 382 would update the existing criteria used by judges when determining whether a youth offender should be tried in juvenile or adult court. This bill would make sure that judges consider comprehensive information about crime and the young person's ability to rehabilitate. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 51, noes 14. Measure passes. File item 105 is passed and retained. File item 106, that's SB 230 for the purpose of amendment. Clerk will read with amendments.
Senate Bill 230 with amendments by Assemblymember Quirk.
Mr. Quirk, you may open on the amendments.
Good morning, Speaker and members. Amendments at the desk to SB 230 by Senator Hancock are simple chaptering out amendments to avoid conflicts with AB 487 by Assemblymember Gonzalez, which is currently in the Senate. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on the amendments to send the bill out to print and back on file.
Ms. Waldron, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We support the amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Waldron. With that, we may take a voice vote on the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print and back on file. File item 107, SB 348. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 348 by Senator Galgiani enacting the environmental equality.
We are going to pass temporarily on file item 107. File item 108 is passed and retained. Moving to file item 109, SB 481. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 481 by Senator Hueso enacting the local government.
Dr. Weber, you may open.
Yes, Mr. Speaker and members, I rise on behalf of SB 481, authored by Senator Hueso. This bill, Mr. Speaker, audits provide essential accountability and transparency over government programs, and it's important that the public has access to them. SB 481 seeks to ensure transparency of government audit reports and the independence of internal auditors. This bill prohibits an internal auditor from reporting to General Counsel, and it would prohibit a General Counsel from having direct oversight over the auditor. This bill ensures the independence of an auditor by prohibiting a General Counsel from having direct supervision over that person. SB 41 enjoys no opposition and has received no votes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 68, no 0. Measure passes. File items 110 and 111 are passed and retained. We're moving to file item 112, SB 631. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 631 by Senator Hueso enacting the Public Utilities Commission.
Mr. Rendon, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 631 is a bill to update the fee charged on applications for certificates of public convenience and necessity, CPCNs, required of utilities, including telephone corporations, prior to constructing, expanding, or extending services. The cost of processing a CPCN application are not well reflected in the $75 fee established in law nearly half a century ago. This bill is a simple change in statute to better reflect the current reasonable costs of processing a CPCN application while allowing for continued adjustments reflective of the price of inflation. I urge an aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 53, noes 13. Measure passes. We are moving back to file item 107, SB 348. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 348 by Senator Galgiani enacting the environmental equality.
Dr. Eggman, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, SB 348 simply extends the sunset on the authority for the CPUC to legislate dangerous railroad crossings. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 63, noes 1. Measure passes. File item 113 and 114 are passed and retained. We're moving to file item 115, SB 200. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 200 by Senator Lara and others, enacting into pupils.
Ms. Bonilla, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members. I present to you SB 200, which updates K-12 student residency requirements. Specifically, this bill permits a child who resides with their parent the majority of the work week at their parent's place of employment to enroll in the local school district, even if their permanent address is outside district boundaries. Some workers, including many nannies, caregivers, and maids, are required to live part or full-time with their employers. In doing so, they sacrifice time with their families to care for others. Last year, the Orinda Union School District allowed the family of a Caucasian child whose residency was in question the opportunity to provide further documentation of her residency, and then she was allowed an inter-district transfer. While in the case of a Latina child, a private investigator was hired to follow her, and then she was disenrolled from the school district. After public outcry, the district said the child could stay if the employer became her official caregiver. Finally, a month later, the Orinda School District backed down and said and acknowledged her residency. You know, these workers may not fit the traditional family model, but they should not face undue hardship to keep their families together. Parents should not have to choose between keeping their job and remaining with their children. SB 200 will keep parents from having to make this difficult choice and prevent school districts from engaging in this disgraceful behavior. This measure has received unanimous support, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0. Measure passes. File item 116, pass and retain. File item 117, SB 456, for the purpose of amendment. Clerk will read with amendments.
Senate Bill 456 with amendments by Assembly Member Gonzalez.
Ms. Gonzalez, you may open on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise today for the purpose of amending Senate Bill 456 by Senator Block. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Without objection, we may take a voice vote on the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print and back on file. File items 118 through 122 pass and retain. We are moving to file item 123. That's SB 633. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 633 by Senator Hill and others, enacting relating to false advertising.
Members. Mr. Jones, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. As all of us on the Assembly floor are very familiar with the Made in America situation here in California, Senator Hill and I have been working on legislation this year that helps California become more competitive with the rest of the country with our Made in America labeling. This bill has been unanimously supported in both houses, in the Senate and in committees here in the Assembly. I ask for your aye vote this morning on Made in America.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tie the vote. Ayes 76, no 0. Measure passes. Members, we are moving to consent calendar. Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will read the second-day consent calendar.
Assembly Bill 1542 by Assemblymember Mathis and others, enacting to workers' compensation, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
The clerk will open the roll on the consent calendar. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 70, no 0. Consent calendar is adopted. The clerk will read the remaining bills on the second-day consent calendar.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 56.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 386.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 424.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 17.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 35.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 65.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 165.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 177.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 184.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 216.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 232.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 241.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 284.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 285.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 288.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 299 with urgency.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 337.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 352.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 354.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 410.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 418.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 497.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 502.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 516.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 525.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 531.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 561.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 590.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 598.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 601.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 620.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 652.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Bill 719.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 7.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 11.
Ayes 75, no 0.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 70.
Ayes 75, no 0.
And Senate Concurrent Resolution 75.
Ayes 75, no 0. Members, I am prepared to lift the call. Members, if I could have your attention. I am prepared to lift the call on file item 93, that's SB 227. The clerk will post. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Are we going to get them? Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote, ayes 41, noes 33, measure passes. Members, there's no applause on the floor during the file. The House will be in order. Members, we are moving to announcements and adjournments in memory. Please take your seats on the floor. We are moving to adjournments in memory. The following members were granted prior permission to speak on an adjournment in memory. Members, your respectful attention, please. Mr. Holden, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to adjourn in memory of a pioneer in the STEM field, Claudia Alexander. Claudia J. Alexander was an American research scientist specializing in geophysics and planetary science. She worked for the United States Geological Survey and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Alexander earned her bachelor's and master's from UC Berkeley and her PhD in plasma physics from the University of Michigan. As a member of the technical staff at the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is located in my district, she was the last project manager of the Galileo mission to Jupiter, and until the time of her passing had served as project manager and scientist of NASA's role in the European-led Rosetta mission. She stood out as an African-American woman in a field dominated by white males. She was also known as a champion of STEM education and diversity. In 2003, she was awarded the Emerald Honor for Women of Color in Research and Engineering by the Career Communications Group, Incorporated, publisher of Black Engineer and Information Technology magazine. She was also named Woman of the Year by the University of Michigan and the Association of Women Geoscientists. In NASA profile, her words of advice to future researchers were that science and math take as much effort to master as becoming an athlete or a musician, but the rewards are enormous. I'm used to working and walking between two different cultures. She said, "For me, this is among the purposes of my life, to take us from states of ignorance to states of understanding with bold exploration that you can't do every day." Alexander's studies have included the evolution and interior physics of comets, Jupiter and its moons, plate tectonics, the solar wind, space plasma, and the planet Venus. In her free time, Alexander enjoyed traveling, horseback riding, and writing science fiction. Claudia Alexander passed away on July 11, 2015, following a 10-year battle with breast cancer. Members, I respectfully ask we adjourn in her memory.
Thank you, Ms. Holden. Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's with deep regret that I rise and ask that we adjourn in memory of Judge Lawrence Carlton, one of California's most influential jurists. Judge Carlton was born in 1935 in New York City, attended Columbia Law School, later joined the Army, where he was stationed in Sacramento, working at the Sacramento Army Depot. He started his law practice here in the Sacramento area. In 1976, he was appointed by Jerry Brown as a Superior Court judge. He quickly distinguished himself as a forward-thinking jurist and was later tapped by President Carter to serve as a federal judge for the Eastern District Court in California. He served for 35 years in the Eastern District with a focus on protecting the rights of those who could not defend themselves. During his impressive career, he presided over very important cases, including mental health care for inmates in our correction system, the rights for undocumented immigrants, and environmental protection. His decisions ensured that those without a voice were heard. He was survived by his wife, Sue, and his daughter, Emily Williams. He'll be greatly missed by all, including his neighbors here in Sacramento along the Sacramento River, but his contributions for Californians will live on. I ask that we adjourn his memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carty. Members, I'm going to ask for your respectful attention. If there are conversations to be had, please take them off the floor. Mr. Obernolte, members. Mr. Obernolte, you are recognized.
My colleagues, it's with great sadness that I ask the Assembly to adjourn in memory today for Robert Russell Gaines, Sr. After losing his battle with cancer, Bob Gaines passed away on Saturday, July the 4th, at the age of 72. Bob proudly served his country for over 20 years in the United States Air Force, where he completed 5 tours of duty in Vietnam. He retired from George Air Force Base in 1981 and shortly afterwards went to work for Boeing. Bob was a respected community leader, and he spent a great deal of time mentoring youth, believing that he had a responsibility to teach them all that he knew so that our youth wouldn't repeat the same mistakes as those before them. He also dedicated himself to helping business owners and entrepreneurs establish a strong business foundation in and around the high desert. He was active in many organizations, including the California Black Chamber of Commerce, where he served as chairman of the board and received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. He was also the founding president of the Victor Valley African American Chamber of Commerce, a highly respected organization in my community. Furthermore, he was involved in the High Desert Youth Scholarship Program, where he awarded over $285,000 in scholarships to underserved youth. He was active in ROTC, as well as volunteering with the California Cadet Corps, where he received the Distinguished Service Award, and just on June 30th of this year earned a promotion from captain to major. Bob will be sorely missed by his friends, family, and by the community that he so willingly served. I thank you for adjourning today in his memory.
Thank you, Mr. Obernolte. A few announcements, members. The Committee on Revenue and Taxation will meet in room 4202 upon the adjournment of session. That's Revenue and Tax in room 4202 upon adjournment of session. Members, in case you weren't aware, summer recess begins upon the adjournment of session today. The session schedule is as follows. Friday, July 17th, no floor session and no check-in session. Monday, July 20th, no floor session and no check-in session. All other items remaining will be passed and retained. All motions shall be continued. Seeing and hearing no further business, I'm ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Garcia moves. Mr. Mainshine seconds that this House stands adjourned until Monday, August 17th at noon. Quorum call is lifted.